The Eagles view Saquon Barkley and Cooper DeJean the same way. They view them as weapons. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Dingbat here. It's funny listening to people talk about who should be in the Hall of Fame, who shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, and then they talk about Saquon Barkley, and people say, nah, not really a Hall of Fame quarterback, running back. That's not really what he is. And I gotta say this, at this point right now, I think that's true. When you look at his numbers, he isn't a Hall of Fame quarterback. Okay, and it's because of the years with the stinky Giants. The New York Giants screwed Saquon Barkley. Okay, they screwed themselves, but first they screwed Saquon Barkley. Now Saquon Barkley has an opportunity to change everything, to make it okay. All right, he has a chance this year to do something that nobody else has ever done. And I don't think it's being talked about enough. No running back in the history of the NFL has ever run for 2K 2 years in a row. Okay? Nobody. Saquon Barkley has the best chance I've seen, because a lot of the guys that have done it, especially later in their career, you could tell, like, that was it, man. That was it. It was all downhill from there. Not Saquon. Saquon, you can tell that he's entering his prime years. I think of, like, remember back in the day, like Priest Holmes and stuff, and he was like the number one running back in the National Football League, and he would be out there, and he would be your number one fantasy running back, and he like for 3 or 4 years span, he was like really, really good. I think Saquon's in that kind of window, and when you have that talent that he has, and you put the best offensive line in football, the best I've seen since the 90s, all right, he has a chance to get 2,000 yards. And I don't think he's going to have as many carries to do it. I think Saquon is in a very, very interesting situation, and he's in the perfect window to get it done. And, when the Eagles signed him, everybody said, well, the Eagles don't sign running backs. The Eagles don't sign running backs. But people just forgot what Howie would say, because Howie would, for years, he was asked this, and I used to bring this up all the time. But Howie would say, when people say, well, you don't pay running backs, you don't pay any what kind of, yeah, but we pay guy if we think he's a weapon. If we think he's a game changer, if we think he's a weapon, we'll pay him. The Eagles didn't sign Saquon Barkley because they wanted to sign a running back. They signed Saquon Barkley because they were bringing in a weapon. Okay, that's what Saquon Barkley is to them, a weapon. He can beat you in the run game. He could beat you in the pass game. He could also help in pass protection. Saquon Barkley, not to mention his leadership abilities and the way he came in, he's got a chance to do something great. And if Saquon can do what I think, and I really think he's going to do it, all right, I know that's a hot take. I'm putting money on it, but if he does it, all that talk about, well, he's not a Hall of Fame running back, he doesn't have the numbers, it all goes away. To me, he goes out and he gets 2,000 yards again, he's a Hall of Fame. He's going to the Hall of Fame. It's going to happen, okay? It's going to happen. But the Eagles, make no mistake about it, they look at Saquon Barkley as a weapon. And now they're in a position with the best offensive line in football to go out and make that weapon do something we haven't seen. And I can't wait for it, the same thing can really be said, in my opinion, when you look at the defensive side of the ball. You look at Cooper DeJean, the talk now is, well, Cooper DeJean doesn't want to play in the slot. He doesn't want to play in the slot because if he plays in the slot, he's not going to get paid like an outside corner. Outside corners make a lot more money than slot cornerbacks. So the Eagles are doing wrong by him because they're not letting him play on the outside enough, and he's going to get pissed, and he ain't going to like it, and that's going to happen, and you guys will say, that's the Eagles. I don't think they look at Cooper DeJean as a slot corner or an outside corner. I think they look at him as a defensive weapon. He's a weapon, all right? And you utilize that weapon by taking advantage of matchups. That's why in camp and in OTA so far, what has happened with Cooper DeJean? He has gone out there and he's learned to play. Well, he already knows slot corner, but he's also playing and getting snaps and reps at outside corner. Base defense, he's the outside corner. He's also getting snaps at safety. That's the best way to utilize Cooper DeJean. And when his contract comes up and he can play outside, he could play inside, he could play safety, he could go up against tight ends, against receivers, and he can match up wherever you need him. The Eagles won't pay him as a slot corner. They're going to pay him as a weapon. Okay? That's the way the Eagles work. And that's how they look at Cooper DeJean. They don't look at him as a corner or slot corner or outside corner. They look at him as a weapon. And that's how you get the most out of him. To me, Quinyon Mitchell is an outside corner. I think he could be outside, shut down. If he got the chance to play more man, he would do it. I think he could shadow the best wide receivers. That's what he is. Cooper DeJean to me is, hey, listen, we're playing, I don't know, the Chiefs this week. We need somebody to go up and just shadow Kelsey. He can do it. Just go up against him. Hey, we're going to need you on the outside this game. We got this receiver. We got these two receivers on the outside. We want you on this one guy. He can do it. We need you at safety. He can go out and do it. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's going to learn over the next few years. And when you'll see it 3-4 years down the road, Cooper DeJean will be used. Remember how the Eagles a lot of times use Malcolm Jenkins all over. They use Brian Dawkins in many ways all over. I think Cooper DeJean will be used that way. That's where it's heading. Okay? Cooper DeJean is a weapon. He's a defensive weapon. And if you're just putting him in the slot, you're wasting his talent. If you just put him on the outside, you're just wasting his talent. He can cover. He can tackle. Okay? He can do whatever you need to do. He's smart. He's athletic. He's a big guy. And he's a stud. He's a stud. And Q is too. But to me, he's a pure outside corner, man. Cooper DeJean is a Swiss Army knife. That's how the Eagles will use him. That's how I would use him. And look, I think the Eagles are very, very good. And the one thing Howie Roseman does very well, he does a lot of things well, but the one thing that he does well is they recognize when talent supersedes how they value a position. I love the way that the Eagles have changed that philosophy at linebacker, right? The Eagles aren't now just sitting there going, we don't want any linebackers. What did they do? They recognized what Zach Bond was and they brought him back. That's a very good thing. They see Saquon Barkley as a weapon. He's a weapon. They see Cooper DeJean as a weapon on defense. And they're going to teach him, not right away, but over the years, they're going to teach him a little by little. You learn the slot, then you're going to learn some outside corner, you're going to learn some safety. And it's going to continue to grow to the point where he can play any position in that secondary at any time, play up against anybody they need him to match up against. You get him and utilize him like that, you pay him big bucks. You've got to pay him big bucks. And it's well worth it. I always get text. Always getting text at the wrong time. So to me, yeah. The Eagles have weapons. They have a young weapon on defense and he's not the only one. I mean, they got a couple weapons on defense, but that's how I see them, with Cooper. And I only bring it up because I see the two things I always see people panicking about are kind of, to me, similar to what they did with the running back situation. Well, the Eagles don't want running backs. They don't like running backs. But, they missed how he kept saying about the running back. I think people worry about Cooper DeJean. He's not on the outside. He should be an outside corner. You don't get a guy like that and put him in a slot. You're wasting. No, he's a Swiss Army knife. He could play every position. You want to use him specific matchups each week. He can be doing totally different things, and he's good at all of it. He's good at all of it. The Eagles know how to use guys and use weapons. And Cooper DeJean, Saquon Barkley are both perfect examples. I expect Barkley to go out and get 2,000 yards this year. I expect Cooper DeJean to learn other positions and continue to be a force as well. With that said, take care. I'll talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's how we vision, baby. We're all just living in it. Man, I can't believe how many people got on me. Earlier the week, well, last weekend, I said, man, that Superman, last trailer, Superman looks horrible. They got the dog flying. They're like, you're too hard on these movies and stuff like that, and you're just bitter, or you're just too old to understand and enjoy these new comics and where they're going with these comics and stuff. And to me, at the end of the day, that all may be true. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I'm bitter. I don't know. But all I know is it looks really stupid watching a little dog fly around the sky. Denzel Washington out. That's all, folks.
The brother screwed us.